who's producing or hosting a show, you would come into the station through this door, which has a combination. You'll know that. And once you come in and close the door, you can unlock it. Now it's there, it's locked, or you can unlock it or lock it, depending on what your setup is for your show. You may have guests coming in. Right now, that is locked. So we come into the station area, production to the left, studio, live studio ahead, and normally the lights are off, but if you need to turn them on, please do. The switch is over there on the wall. Over there is the radio monitor. We keep that on pretty much all the time to just hear the air signal as it goes out from the transmitter. Sometimes it's on very loud. You can just adjust the volume to what's comfortable for you. You don't want it to be so loud that you can hear it in the studio. So I usually turn it down when I come in, quite frankly, and I try to leave the studio door open somewhat when we're on air to keep the air circulating in here. You don't have to. Everyone's different, but this essentially is where you'll come into the studio area, turn the light on, and then come over to this area, the consoles, and just check to see first off if anything has been left on from the previous show. Turntables might be on, this mixer might be on, this CD players over here, 1 and 2 might be left on. There's a power button there. It was left on the other day. And that's on this side of the console. Over here we have your regular computer that you can use to your own advantage or not. I have weather on here. You can go into Amazon. What do we go into?
Like Google or just a browser.
Google Chrome.
Yeah.
is used a lot on here, and it's an additive. It's just a nice aid, supplementary aid for you, and use that here. Here are the headphones that are usually they're all in working order. Ideally, use them just for yourself. You need to use them during the program. Very important, so you hear yourself as you're going out over the air. Your guests, you can have 2 guests comfortably here with the 2 other mics. There's a total of 3 mics. They sit on the opposite side of the console, and they do not need to wear headphones. It's not critical for them to wear them. We have the studio monitor, which indicates what is being played currently out over the air. Studio monitor, volume.
And I can probably serve
for the external speaker is right here. That's the volume for the external speaker. We don't need it up. Well, if you have it on and you want to turn the mic on, mic number 2, which is this one, that turns off the monitors, the speaker for the studio, so that it won't bleed into the microphone and cause a feedback. So that's an automatic safety feature that comes with in any studio.
So anytime you hit the on button, it automatically turns off the studio speaker.
That's right.
Okay.
So no need to worry about handling this yourself.
Fiddling with it.
Automatically shuts it off. Either mic. This mic 2 is mic 2 right here, and mics 1 and 3 are across the console, and that switch there, switch number, this first switch operates both those simultaneously, and these are your volume sliders for both mics. So that
big food distribution.
That is
school gym.
Pretty much what you need to know for speaking on the air and your guests speaking on the air. If you need further adjustments on the volume control, you might have a problem if one of these mics isn't working properly. You check up here this mixer here, which is a continuation of the line for mics 1 and 3. We have volume controls here for mics 1 and 3. Normally they should not be touched. They should be left in a 4 or 5 position. But
right now I see one turned down.
That's the middle. This one here.
No, one of them they should be halfway up.
Yeah.
generally.
Okay, well, it depends on,
Yeah, it depends.
it depends on
yeah.
who's talking.
Yeah, and if there's music happening, sometimes they'll have to adjust the audio on that speaker. They should try to remember to put it back up to the middle
Yeah.
if they do adjustment.
Also, once you get fluid in this with this equipment, and you notice that one guest is speaking has a louder voice than the other, you can adjust their volume individually
Right,
here.
right.
But I don't want to get ahead of myself. But that's what you can do. Someone may bring in a CD. You may have a CD you want to use for an intro. Someone might want to use a CD as an example inside the show. And here we have CD1 and CD2 volume controls. And we can on-off switches and volume controls for CD1. Same thing with CD2. And as far as executing the CD's play, that's over here. We simply put a CD in. Let me just do this correctly. CD disc 1 is an example. Put that in. We have our setups buttons in position for start, pause. If you want to search and track ahead, you can do that. It's hard to see on this color scheme with the LED. But here's track 4 I'm on now, and I'm queued up and I'm ready to go, ready to start that. If I want to play a CD right now, I have my CD cut number 4 ready to go. I come over here to CD1. I got the on switch for the volume to go. I preset the volume midway. Up is good, but it doesn't hurt to have it a little bit lower maybe, and then hit your start switch over here and adjust the volume accordingly.
Okay, so if they want to listen to it queued up, how do they do that?
Good point. And I should have said that first. If you want to listen to the CD before you do anything over the air, and you've got time, you hit the cue button. And I'll give you an example right now.
People who, for no fault of their own, for the most part, are not able to walk into a grocery store and buy their own food.
We have, this is cut number 4 on that CD. The speaker, by the way, is right here. This is the cue speaker. The cue volume is here. It says cue volume. So that's for either CD1 or CD2 in cue.
And you can do the same. Can you do the same thing with your audio mics?
No, you need to have these buttons.
Okay, so those are cue buttons.
Correct. You need to have the cue buttons. You can do them for quite a few things, especially the turntable with the vinyl. You can do that for that as well. But it's a great feature because you get to check things out in advance. Back here, I'll stop it, I'll pause it, and I'll remove it. When you're done with your cuts, playing them, whatever, we turn the power off.
I
A lot of
know,
times people forget.
I know. I came in last Thursday, and it was on.
I can relate. I've seen that too. So anyhow, bottom line with volume control for voice or CD or turntable, whatever the source, we look at the VU meters, the volume meters that indicate. Let me put the volume up.
Could you say a little bit more?
That indicates the level that's going out over the level of volume going out over the air. This is about right. This is free flowing. It can go up to the red. It can go a little bit into the red if you need to be.
You want kind of kissing the red.
That's right. You want it to be up there though. You don't want it to be down below. You don't want it to be down in the 20s and 40s. You want to get the signal out over the air. So that's what we strive for. And what you try to do is when in your show is continually just check the VU meters as you go, because invariably we forget and we get engrossed in the conversation. We talk with guest number 1 or guest number 2, and you don't realize that maybe they've drifted away from the mic and the volume is dropped down. You can also hear it in your headphones. That's why you need to wear headphones. And just try to maintain a consistent volume level that matches yours that has been on the air and theirs, and make sure that they all match.
Now, lately, I hear sometimes the main mic, the MC's mic or the show host mic, people start sounding like they're in a tin can. So are they too far away from the mic?
Usually, yeah.
That's what it is?
Yeah,
And
it's
so
not-
how far should they be from the mic?
It's not, again, you watch your video meters.
Right.
But don't have so much airspace between your voice, your mouth, and the mic. So try to be within 4 or 5 inches
Okay.
from the mic. That's number one. Number two is be careful because your mic might not be on. And you think it's fine, especially if you don't have your headphones on. And I've heard shows like that where I'm hearing the guest great, and I'm not hearing the host.
Right.
I'm hearing the host, but the host is distant.
It sounds like the host is in the next room.
I agree. Right. Exactly. And I dare say I believe that the mic wasn't on.
Uh-huh.
So it's a real. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal.
That's why you wear the headphones.
That's why you have to wear headphones, so you know where the volume's at. They get after us at the other station too. They force us to do that.
They
and
force y'all to?
Yeah, they do.
Did they fine you if you don't?
No.
Well,
Not
I
that
think we
know
should
of.
institute a fine.
But I think that's probably true. And I'm surprised that they don't. But that's very important. Again, the guests don't need to wear headphones. They really can't with the way we have this thing set up.
Okay, so another question about the mics.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hear it like maybe is it when the guest is or the MC, the show host is too close to the mic, you get this popping. Is that because you're too close to the mic?
That can happen. This is off. But yeah, popping, which is the plosives, as you speak, that can be a factor when you are close. Fortunately, we have windscreens on these mics, and that usually takes care of it.
But still, I've noticed even on
If
so
you
I
start
hear
hitting the mic. That's
yeah.
You don't want that.
So
either.
you really want to be about 3, 4, or 5 inches away from the mic.
Where I am now is pretty good.
So right now you're about 4 inches from the
Yeah,
mic.
That's right. That's right. And everyone needs to try to stay on that same plane, and just to keep things consistent. We want a clean show. It's clean volume, consistent volume, clean beginnings and clean endings, crisp endings, just to keep things in the sound for the overall station consistent. So. Anyway, that's basically it. This is the station monitor I mentioned before. We're in program right now, and we're playing a show which runs about an hour, 59 minutes and 28 seconds. It's called The Better World, and this is the station in a nutshell, ongoing. And if you're going to do a live show, what you want to do when the time comes, you come up to the top of the hour, you can hear it. You'll certainly hear it ending or whatever the programming is. You're going to come over here, and you can basically stop it right there where I'm pointing with the cursor, and click on that. It'll stop this. You can go and start your live show without any difficulty.
Right. So then they start playing the music. Or if they've got their own intro that comes in,
Right.
that comes in on this, they don't stop it before the intro plays.
That's right. Now let me. That's a very good point. What we also say, and I really should start with this and emphasize this, is when you see the monitor in play and you're coming up to the top of the hour and you're about to start your show, and whatever it was that was running is ending, you can bring the volume down. This can continue to run, and you can go do your show.
So you don't necessarily,
want.
and you don't necessarily have to hit stop.
You do not. You
So-
do not.
so
I've
you
done
can-
that.
yes.
But you don't have to.
Okay.
And frankly, it's easier if you don't. So you can do your half hour, your hour, and when you're done by the clock, and it's coming up to top of the hour straight up, when you get to that point, bring your volume up, and you go right back. You go right back to the continuing programming that's been going on all this time.
Okay, so there's 2 ways to do your show. One, you simply hit stop. And start with your own show. Or you bring the volume down, you bring the fader down.
Right on the
And then you pick up the audio on the mics or the CD player or the record player.
Yes.
And do it and start your show that way.
Yes. If, like you said, you stop the show, you stop the programming, and then the hour is up, and you go back to, you click automate. Don't do what hundreds of others have done and click play. Because if you click play, only one of these items will play.
Right. And then it stops.
When it ends, it stops the whole thing. So you play automate.
Yes, you always hit automate.
Return to
If you've stopped it, you always have to hit automate to start it again.
Correct. And then you're back, and then shut everything off. You make sure all your switches are off on your mics.
Now, what about
And resources.
watching the time so that you don't bleed into the next hour or the next show?
Yeah.
What do you recommend stopping about a minute before, or what do you recommend?
If you're at 59,
Stop it.
9:59, you're ending your show.
Yeah.
Inside that minute, you're
Yes.
ending your show. You might pick up on the theme music and the out theme music of the previous program. That's fine. Or you'll probably end up bumping into an ID, which is fine. But you give your ending, and thank you very much. This has been A Better World, or whatever the show name is. Thank you for listening to WPVM. We'll see you next time. And your volume comes up, and whatever's on there is probably going to be a music or an outro or something.
Well, what I've found is people when their show replays, if they've spilled over or if someone has spilled over into their hour, then it causes problems because it sounds like another show is coming on or it's an old broadcast of a past show. So I've recommended having your intro music play about a minute into your show and your outro music playing about a minute out of your show. That way you don't get any muddling or muddying of some other show spilling into yours or you spilling into someone else's show.
It's a good idea.
And so you really have to watch the time beginning and ending so that you don't have the spillover issue that we've had in the past that's very vexing for some people.
Sure, that's a great idea, and it makes it a lot cleaner.
Well, and if we had a radio station engineer and producer who was in here handling this all the time, it would be different. But we have the automation, and the automation can only do what it records.
Yes.
So if the automation records you spilling over into the next show, then there's going to be a problem when that next show plays and you've spilled over into their show.
Good point.
And vice versa.
Yeah. So for openers, when you do start a show or you're beginning to produce your own show, that's probably the best way to go with the volume thing. The nice thing about stopping this programming, stopping the program, and then starting it at the next hour is that you can move the cursor to wherever it is you're about to go into, the next hour, if you will. Click on that, and then when you see it turn top of the hour, hit, then click on it, and at the top of the hour, the show will start on time. So I mean that's an easier way of doing it, but again, it takes time to get to do this stuff all at once, and
Right.
we forget where things are, and we forget what button does what.
Well, that's the purpose of this audio, so people can review it.
Review it and go over it. When you're in show, it's a little different because it gets a little hairy the first few times.
It does. I know, because I did the first live show. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing
You know,
here.
what's the slider switch?
Yeah.
Whatever.
What did-
It's so true. That being said, what you've been using goes off, which the mics, maybe the CDs go off. Make sure the equipment's off behind you, and then you basically turn the lights off, head on outside, see that the door is locked when you leave.
Check to make sure the radio is on when
And
you
that
leave.
the radio is on when you leave. The volume will come up.
And pick up after your guest. If your guests have left a cup or something in here or in the other room, have them pick it up. Absolutely no liquids around the mixing board, no food in the broadcast room, no open containers in the broadcast room. If it's here, it has to be covered and it has to be away from the board.
Critical. Yeah, it's critical. I mean, it's electronics and liquid and electronics.
Yeah,
is
these
the work.
two pots we sent off that were not working, there was liquid damage, and it was like
Oh, gee.
$900 to get both of those repaired.
And that goes way back, I'm sure, because we've had trouble with that for a long time. Thank you. I keep forgetting this is a video as well.
Yeah, so
All right. So that
no
that's-
liquid around the board.
Good point. And
So is that it?
I think that's it. If you get stuck and you want to say something in the middle of a show, you can always read this. It's nice to have WPVM 103.7, who we are, and the WPVMFM.org. Listen to us online. So those are just little things. I jump to them occasionally when I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, and so a station ID happens at the top and the bottom and the end of the hour.
That's correct.
And if you have a underwriter, you can announce 3 announcements at the top, at the bottom, and the end of the hour. They should be 20 to 25 seconds long at the most.
Okay. All right. I think that is it. I'll turn it over.
For the household.
And I
So
think
we're
we have,
up?
I think we have it, yeah, the volume back
And it's
up.
always
This
been
is
a
out.
part, my family has always told me, always get first.
Everything here is off.
People in your community.
And turn the fan back on if you've turned it off. It keeps it circulating. If there's no one in the studio, you can leave the studio door open. That way air circulates through and you don't get hot. And so when you leave, don't close the studio door. Leave it open so that the air circulates through. And lights off.
Set that over.
Everybody's stuff picked up.
Right, make sure this can come back, this volume can come back on, so we hit the monitor,
Made sure that our station is playing when you leave.
right?
And-
If there is a problem,
Call me or
or me, yeah.
or call Jim, call me,
Numbers.
or text me or text Jim. We do texting. All right, well, I think that's it.
I think so. Any questions further beyond this, again, call us.
Call Jim and he will be happy to help you.
Assuming I know the answer. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.